Linzer cookies are a classic, perfect for the holidays, Valentine's Day, or any other occasion. Remember to hit the subscribe button for more recipe videos like this one. To make these cookies, we're going to start off with the dry ingredients, starting with flour. We're going to add 3 cups of flour to a bowl. To that, we'll add 1 cup of almond meal. Keep in mind that this is almond meal and not almond flour. Almond flour is usually what's required for French macaroons and is a finely ground powder that is much more expensive than almond meal. Next, add 1 teaspoon of baking powder as well as 1 teaspoon of salt. Give the dry ingredients a quick stir and set them aside. In a separate bowl, combine 2 sticks of softened butter along with 1 cup of sugar and beat the mixture until it's fluffy and pale. Now it's time to add the eggs. Add 2 eggs, one at a time, and beat the mixture evenly in between each addition. To flavor this cookie dough batter, we're going to add a pinch of salt as well as almond extract, which is traditional for Linzer cookies. Now it's time to slowly add the dry ingredients to the butter mixture, about 1/4 to 1/2 cup at a time. So as you'll see, I started off with a beater, but that really wasn't a good idea because the more you add the dry mixture, it becomes harder and harder to beat. So I switched to a spatula, and eventually off camera I switched to my hands. You're gonna have to use your hands to sort of bring the entire mixture together until it comes together in a cookie dough form. You're gonna have to mix it for quite some time before you can get it to look like a traditional cookie dough batter. This is what the batter should look like after combining it by hand. After it's come together, it's time to go ahead and chill it in the fridge. Go ahead and wrap it up in some saran wrap. I covered it so that it didn't form a skin, and I chilled it for about 2 hours. Now it's time to go ahead and roll out your cookie dough. So you're going to take your cookie dough and you're going to divide it in half. You're going to keep the other half back in the fridge immediately because you can't work with warm cookie dough. Now that you have your other half, what you're going to do is flour your surface and go ahead and roll it out to about 1/4 of an inch thickness. This cookie dough has a tendency to crumble because of the almond meal. If this happens, push the batter together with your hands as best as you can and try to roll it out to that 1/4 inch thickness. Now it's time to cut the cookies. We're going to start by making the bottom layer of the cookie first. So I'm going to use a couple of different cookie cutters. I'm using star shapes, circles, and a cute little tartlet shape that I'll show you later on. Once you have an imprint of the cookies that you want, you're going to start to pull away at the cookie dough. The batter at this point might still be very delicate, so you want to be very careful about not tearing your shapes. Very carefully lift up your cookies and place them onto a parchment-lined cookie sheet. As for the cookie dough scraps around the cookie shape, save them and maybe even re-chill them if they become difficult and too warm to work with. Once you have your cookies, go ahead and bake them at 325 for about 12 to 15 minutes until the edges are nice and golden. While your cookies are baking, you can roll out another batch of cookie dough. As you'll see here, I added a little bit more flour on the top to make rolling easier, and it definitely helps. So maybe you can give that a try to make the rolling a little bit easier. When the cookies come out of the oven, it's time to carefully take them off with a cookie spatula and place them on a cooling rack. When they come out of the oven, they might still be a little soft, but eventually when they cool, they will harden. It's important to cool the cookies for at least an hour. Now it's time to make the Linzer cookie tops. So here you're going to roll out the dough just like before, and with the same shapes as before. But this time you're going to create a hole in the center of the shape. You can get creative with your shapes both on the outside and on the inside by using some very fancy cookie cutter sets, but personally I just found that using these simple cookie cutters as well as some large piping tips did the trick. If at any point the cookie dough becomes too warm to work with, feel free to pop it back into the fridge for an extra couple of minutes. Once your cookies have cooled completely, it's time to move on to the jam. I'm using raspberry jam here. Make sure it's seedless or else it won't be fun to eat. Go ahead and add that to a small bowl and microwave it for about 1 to 3 minutes until it's very fluid and easy to work with. Microwaving the jam makes it really easy to work with and easy to spread onto the cookies. Once your jam is microwaved, cool it down just a little bit before you start spreading it onto the cookies. Sandwiching the cookies is really easy. You just grab a bottom, add some jam, spread it, and add the top. Add as little or as much jam as you like. Make sure you spread the jam towards the edges of the cookie so that the top will adhere to the bottom. To give them more of a finishing look, you can dust them with a coating of powdered sugar. I somehow managed to find the tiniest sieve that I have, added powdered sugar to it, and then dusted my cookies with that. And there you have it, your Linzer cookies. These cookies may be a holiday classic, but I like to make them year-round just because of how delicious they are. I hope you give them a try and leave a comment as to how much you like them. Remember to hit the subscribe button for more recipe videos like this one.